Assalamu alaikum students. Today I am starting the lectures of histology, special histology, that is the histological features of the systems. So far you have studied the basic tissues of the body in your first year. In second year you will study the histological features of the systems. The various systems. You know that systems are made up of organs and organs are made up of tissues and tissues are made up of cells and extracellular matrix. So we will see that what are the histological features of the systems. So today we are starting with the histology of gastrointestinal system. And in this lecture we will study the histological features of tongue. So the gastrointestinal system consists of a hollow muscular tube starting from the oral cavity and ending at the anus. Now the various parts of this tube are the oral cavity, then the pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and this large intestine is ending at the region of anus. So first component is the hollow muscular tube. Second component is the accessory organs, accessory glands, associated glands that assist the tract by secreting enzymes to help break down food into its component nutrients. So two parts are there in the gastrointestinal system. Two types of organs are associated. First is the tube-like structure starting from the oral cavity and ending at the anus. And second is the accessory organs or the associated glands that secrete enzymes and hormones that help in the process of digestion, absorption and elimination. So the functions of gastrointestinal system are the transport and food digestion. Transport includes the introduction of food and liquid into the oral cavity. Then during their transport, chewing movements or mastication occurs, which divides the solid food into digestible pieces. Now this part of the food digestion is the mechanical digestion. Then the secretion of hormones and enzymes of digestion. These hormones and enzymes do the chemical digestion. They break down, they degrade the macromolecules of food to smaller molecules and their subunits so they can get absorbed. So third part is the production of mucus for lubrication and moisturizing the ingested food, and then the absorption of food. Last is the important function of gastrointestinal tract is the immunity, is to provide immunity. Now the gastrointestinal tract, it starts from the oral cavity and this part is responsible for the intake of food, and it is divided into two parts, the oral cavity proper and the vestibule. They are divided by the upper and lower dental arches. Here you can see these are the dental arches with the teeth and their bony scaffoldings. So these bony arches, these dental arches, they divide the oral cavity into two parts. This part is the oral cavity proper, while this part here lateral to the dental arches are the vestibule. Now the oral cavity proper, it consists of, here you can see the tongue, the main organ, and the floor of the mouth where the salivary glands, they open up, and The palate, hard palate. Soft palate is forming the boundary, and laterally cheeks, inner side of cheeks are here. Now today's topic, the histological structure of the tongue. So tongue is a strong muscular organ, manipulates the food bolus to come in contact with the teeth. It is located partly in the oral cavity and partly in the oropharynx area. It is also the sensing organ of the mouth for touch, temperature and taste. Now it consists of core of skeletal muscle fibers covered by mucous membrane. So functions of tongue. Now the tongue is specialized for chewing and swallowing movements. The tongue assists the teeth in chewing the ingested food and then passing it down the throat as the initial part of the swallowing process. So here you can see the process of chewing, and then the bolus is going into the esophagus through the pharynx, the process of swallowing. Then the taste. The tongue is specialized for receiving the taste sensation. The receptor for the taste sensations, known as taste buds, are located in the tongue. Then the articulation or speech. The movement of tongue play a crucial role in speaking. You can yourself see, if you don't move the tongue, you are unable to articulate the words properly. Then last is the cleaning. The movement of tongue dislodge food particles stuck to the teeth, gums and cheeks so that these can be spat out or swallowed. So little bit about the gross anatomy of the tongue, gross structure of the tongue. The tongue has got two surfaces, superior or the dorsal surface, the upper surface is also known as dorsal surface. It is rough or irregular. You can see here, this is the upper or the superior surface. This is rough and irregular. It is divided into two parts by a V-shaped sulcus called the sulcus terminalis. Now this is the V-shaped sulcus which is dividing the tongue into two parts. The anterior 2/3 part, this one anterior 2/3 part, anterior 2/3 part. It is rough due to presence of small projections called lingual papillas. Here you can see some of the papilla are large enough to be visible with the naked eye. The posterior 1/3 is irregular due to aggregates of lymphoid nodules in it. So again, the dorsal surface, you can see that it is rough due to presence of papilla, and this is the ventral surface. You can compare the dorsal surface with the ventral surface. Ventral surface is smooth, it is shining, it does not have papilla, it does not contain papilla. So you can see the difference, that this surface is rough and not shining, and the ventral surface, the lower surface of tongue, is smooth, shining and devoid of papillas. So these pictures are showing the histological structure of the dorsal surface and the ventral surface. So here you can see at the dorsal surface there are projections forming the papillas, projections of epithelium forming the papillas. So it appears rough, while these ventral surface have got no projections on its surface and hence it appears smooth. Now the longitudinal section of the tongue, this is the longitudinal section of tongue. This is the dorsal surface and this is the ventral surface or the lower surface. So as I have told you before, the tongue consists of core of skeletal muscle fibers. This is the core and covered by mucous membrane. Now what is mucous membrane? Mucous membrane consists of the epithelium and underlying connective tissue. So you know from your previous knowledge that every type of epithelium is associated with some type of connective tissue beneath it. So this is the epithelium and this is the connective tissue beneath it. So together they form the mucosa or the mucous membrane. This is the dorsal surface, and on dorsal surface you can see the projections of the epithelium forming the papilla. So hence this surface is rough, while the ventral surface here again covered by epithelium, but you can see that its surface is smooth. There are no projections of the epithelium. So next layer is the lamina propria, which I have told you it consists of connective tissue, loose connective tissue, blood vessels, nerves, lymphatics, and then the core of the skeletal muscles. So skeletal muscles, they run in different directions. There are two types of muscles, the intrinsic muscles. Intrinsic muscles of the tongue, they are divided into four groups, which are the superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, transverse and vertical. So you can see here the longitudinal sections, transverse sections, the vertical sections and the transverse sections of the skeletal muscles. The extrinsic muscles of the tongue are also present, which are attached outside the tongue, which takes origin from outside the tongue, bony origin, and they are inserted to the tongue. So here you can see that the mucosa is tethered to the underlying skeletal muscle. You can feel it yourself by trying to separate the upper layer of your tongue by your finger, but you cannot separate it. This mucosa is tethered to the underlying skeletal muscles. This is because because we have to chew the food particles, so that the tongue can effectively chew the food particles. Now, as I have told you before, the core of the tongue consists of interlacing bundles of skeletal muscles. Now, examples of skeletal muscle fibers sectioned in longitudinal and transverse planes are abundant. You can see the longitudinal section and the transverse section. You can also appreciate the striations present in the skeletal muscle fibers. This interlacing arrangement of the skeletal muscles gives the tongue the necessary mobility for phonation and chewing and swallowing of the food. Now the lingual mucosa is covered by stratified squamous epithelium with varying degrees of keratinization. Since the dorsal surface of the tongue is more at risk for desiccation and abrasions from the contact with food bolus of various temperatures and textures, it is covered by epithelium which is partially keratinized. So tongue papillae. Papillae are elevations of the oral epithelium and the lamina propria that assume various forms and functions. Now there are four types of papillae. Number one is filiform papillae. Here you can see these are pointed papillae known as filiform papillae. Pointed papillae known as filiform papillae. These one, pointed ones. Then the fungiform papillae. Here, this is the fungiform papillae. You can see these are the filiform pointed papillae, and among interspread between the filiform papillae are the fungiform papillae, means mushroom shaped. Then the circumvallate papillae. Circumvallate papillae, here you can see the difference. There is a trench all round there is a space which is known as trench all round the circumvallate papilla. Circumvallate papilla. You can see that these filiform papillae or the fungiform papillae, they do not have such kind of trench, but the circumvallate papilla having trench around them. So last is the foliate papillas. You can see these are rounded papillas, foliate papillas. With the exception of filiform papillae, they all contain taste buds for taste sensations. So filiform papillae do not contain taste buds. And what are papillae? These are elevations of the oral epithelium. Elevations of the epithelium and lamina propria that covers the tongue. So lingual papillae. Filiform papillae has elongated conical shape, pointed shape. They are quite numerous. They are more in number and are present over the entire surface of the tongue. Their epithelium, which does not contain taste buds, is keratinized. So these are keratinized. These papillae are keratinized and they do not contain taste buds. So they are conical shaped, they are more numerous, they are present on the entire two-thirds of the interior two-thirds of the tongue, dorsal surface of the tongue, and their epithelium do not contain taste buds, and epithelium is partially keratinized. Fungiform papillae, they resemble mushrooms. These papillae, which contain scattered taste buds on their upper surfaces, are irregularly interspread among the filiform papillae. So they are less as compared to the filiform papillae, but they have got taste buds on their upper surface. Foliate papillae are poorly developed in humans. So they are more developed in lower animals. They consist of two or more parallel ridges and furrows on the dorsolateral surface of the tongue and contain many taste buds. So they are rudimentary in human. Now circumvallate papillae are 7 to 12 extremely large circular papillae whose flattened surfaces extend above the other papillae. Now they are visible under naked eye. They are distributed in V-shaped region in the posterior portion of the tongue, and numerous serous glands known as von Ebner's glands drain their content into the deep groove that encircles the periphery of each circumvallate papilla. Now here you can see again, this is the filiform papillae. You can see the pointed papillae having keratinized epithelium with no taste buds, while fungiform papillae are mushroom shaped and they have taste buds on their apical surface, upper surface. while foliate papillas are rudimentary in human and they are rounded shape and they also contain taste buds on their lateral surfaces. Now the circumvallate papilla, you can see here a trench surrounds the whole papilla, and in this trench on the lateral surface of the papilla lies the taste buds, numerous taste buds. So taste buds are more numerous in the circumvallate papilla. And you can see the location also. Filiform papillas are present in the anterior two-thirds of the tongue, dorsal surface, while fungiform are also interspread between the filiform papillas. Foliate papillas are present on the lateral surface, dorsolateral surface, and circumvallate papillas. They are 8 to 12 in number and they are present in front of the sulcus terminalis and they are visible with the naked eye. I will show you the picture later on. So you can see this is the mushroom shaped papillae and the taste buds, these are the taste buds interspread among the epithelial cells. This is the epithelium, stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium and the lamina propria. So this is a fungiform papillae with taste buds on the apical surface. So these are the foliate papillae and you can see here the taste buds are located in the lateral wall. Filiform papillae pointed one contains no taste buds. Now each circumvallate papilla is sunk into the lingual mucosa and is surrounded by deep circular moat-like groove. The margins of this moat are elevated to form the wall. Here you can see. So hence it derives its name from this. The circumvallate papillae are so named. In Latin, circumvallate means surrounded by a wall. So these are the circumvallate papillas which are visible to the naked eye. These one. So these are visible among the naked eye. The filiform and the fungiform papilla, they are not visible. So here you can see the moat-like appearance of the circumvallate papilla. This is the papillae and it is surrounded by a trench, like a castle surrounded by a deep trench which is filled up with water. Now again the circumvallate papilla and you can see the serous glands known as von Ebner's glands which are associated with this trench. Now the secretions in the mouth, the molecules of the taste, they come here in the trench and they stimulate these taste buds, and then after stimulating they are pushed outside due to secretions of these von Ebner's glands which are drained by ducts into this trench here. So taste buds are the receptors for sensation. They are involved in perception of 5 elements of the taste perception, that is the sweet, saltish, bitter, sour and umami. This I will show you in the next slide. The taste buds are mainly located on the dorsal surface of the tongue, but they also occur on the soft palate and the laryngeal surface of the epiglottis. Now you can see the lingual taste buds, they are embedded in the epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium, covering the fungiform, foliate and circumvallate papilla, and they rest on the basal lamina of the epithelium. Now in ordinary H&E stained section, a taste bud appears as an oval, pale staining body. You can see here the oval pale staining body embedded in the epithelium. Now it is 70 to 80 micrometer long. The structure of taste bud is 70 to 80 micrometers long and 40 to 50 micrometers wide. The long axis of the taste bud extends through the thick fullness of the epithelium covering the papillae. In stained sections, the taste buds appear distinctly paler than the adjacent stratified epithelium. The apex of each taste bud communicates with the oral cavity through a small aperture known as the taste pore. So this is a small aperture through which these taste buds communicate with the oral cavity. These are known as taste pores. So the taste bud is composed of 50 to 90 cells which are classified into three types: sustentacular cells or supporting cells, neuroepithelial cells, these are the receptors, while third one is the basal cells. The sustentacular cells, you can see here, these are the supporting cells. These are elongated cells that extend from the basal lamina to the taste pore. So they extend from the basal lamina to the taste pore. At their apical end, these cells bear long microvilli, project into the taste pore. Now these cells they contain microvilli which are projecting into the taste pores. You know what is microvilli? These are the extensions of cell membrane. The purpose is to increase the surface area. So these are the supporting cells which support the neuroepithelial cells or the receptor cells. The neuroepithelial cells, also called the taste cells or type 3 cells, are the gustatory receptor cells. These are also elongated tall columnar cells that extend from the basal lamina to the taste pore. Here you can see they are extending from the basal lamina to the taste pore. They also bear long microvilli on their free surface which project into the taste pore. At their base, the taste cells form synapses with afferent nerve fibers through which the taste sensation is conveyed to the CNS. Here you can see the afferent nerve fibers which convey the taste sensation to the CNS. Near their apical ends, neuroepithelial cells and sustentacular cells are joined to each other and to the surrounding epithelial cells by the tight junctions. The basal cells here, basal cell, are small, roughly oval cells located close to the basal lamina. These cells serve as stem cells for other cells of the taste bud. They divide and differentiate into sustentacular cells and taste cells to ensure constant turnover of these cells. Now this is known as the tongue map or the taste map. It is a common misconception that different sections of the tongue receive different sensations. Now, recent research shows that all sensations come from all regions of the tongue, although different parts are more sensitive to certain tastes. Now, here you can see this is the sweet taste is perceived more at the tip of the tongue, then posteriorly at the sides the salty taste, then sour taste, and then in the posterior part the bitter taste. Now recently, umami is the most recent taste sensation described. Umami. And this is like when you eat the famous Chinese salt we used to use in various Chinese cuisines. So the glands of the tongue or the lingual glands, three main groups of simple tubular or tubuloacinar glands occur in the tongue. Now the anterior lingual glands, these constitutes a paired group of ceruminous glands located under the tip of the tongue. Here you can see that they are located under the tip of the tongue. They are embedded in the muscle and their ducts open up on the ventral surface of the tongue. Von Ebner's glands, as I have told you before, many serous glands called von Ebner's glands or gustatory glands are embedded in the substance of the tongue in the region of circumvallate papillae. Ducts of these glands open up into the grooves surrounding the circumvallate papillae. Here you can see these are opening up into the grooves surrounding the circumvallate papillae. Watery secretions of the von Ebner's glands washes away food particles of these grooves, allowing reception of new gustatory stimuli by the taste buds of the circumvallate papillae. Now mucus glands of the roots, these are numerous small purely mucus glands that lie in the posterior one-third of tongue. Their ducts open into the crypts of the lingual tonsils. I will show you in the next coming slides. So the posterior region of the tongue is located behind the circumvallate papillae and near the lingual tonsil. The dorsal surface of the posterior region typically exhibits large mucosal ridges. Here you can see large mucosal ridges and folds that resemble the large fungiform papillae of the anterior tongue. A stratified squamous epithelium without keratinization covers the mucosal ridges and the folds. The filiform and fungiform papillae that are normally seen in the anterior region of the tongue are absent from the posterior tongue. The lamina propria of the mucosa is wider. Here you can see the lamina propria of the mucosa is wider but similar to that of the anterior two-thirds of the tongue. Now under the stratified squamous epithelium, there are seen large aggregates of diffuse lymphatic tissue. Here you can see large aggregates of diffuse lymphatic tissue, the adipose tissue, blood vessels, nerve fibers. Now deep in the connective tissue of lamina propria and between the interlacing skeletal muscle fibers are found mucus acini of the posterior lingual glands or the glands of the root. Here you can see the excretory ducts of the posterior lingual glands. They open onto the dorsal surface of tongue, usually between the bases of the mucosal ridges and the folds. So before ending my lecture, the important points you have to remember are the lingual papillae. What are lingual papillae? These are the projections of the epithelium and there are various forms and they have got taste buds in them. Now the structure of taste bud, this is a oval shaped structure which is present embedded in the stratified epithelium of the tongue and they have got three types of cells: the sustentacular or supporting cells, the receptor cells and the basal cells. Now the receptor cells, they are important for the perception of the taste sensation. These are the neurons, bipolar neurons. Now the structure of anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 of the tongue. The tongue is covered by lingual papillae on the anterior 2/3 on the dorsal surface. Ventral surface is smooth. While the posterior surface of the tongue, it shows ridges and folds, and their lamina propria contains the lymphatic nodules, large lymphatic nodules. I hope you have understood the structure of the histological structure of the tongue. Thank you so much.